Good evening, everybody. This is the Krueger Show. I'm Dan Coccimilgio along with Ryan Smith over on the left, or I guess my left, your right. And tough Giants loss tonight where they score one run gallantly in the ninth inning on a Brandon Crawford two-out base hit. Only their second hit of the night. That's what they end up with. 2 hits in 10 innings. They had plenty of different chances. They couldn't score. I think they went 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position tonight. So we're back here. Larry will join us shortly. He's got a commitment he's finishing up with, and he should be here roughly, about 20 minutes, Ryan?
Yeah, about 20 minutes. I mean, honestly, I'm not even sure necessarily because this game ran late, but yeah, he originally told us it's going to be about 20 minutes. So.
Yeah, so he may be on at any time because I think he was going to be busy till 10:30, 10:45 roughly, something like that. So hopefully he'll be here shortly. So hang in there. Larry will be here shortly. But guys, tough loss. I mean, when you only get 2 hits after you come back last night with 7 runs scored in the last few innings of play last night, it looked like, maybe the momentum is starting to shift. And, Logan Webb comes out and throws a gem, although we had to see Musgrove. The guy flirts with so many no-hitters. I mean, how many times has he gotten into the 5th, 6th inning with no-hitters in his career? At least 4. I've seen a couple this year, I believe. So, yeah, it's a tough way to go, guys. What do we got in the chat? We got any comments in the chat? Where I saw. Let's see.
You know what? Let's get some. My mic might be a little loud. Let's get some calls. Like if before Larry comes in, I'd love to hear from the people because
flash that number up.
Yeah. All right. 1 second. All right, yeah, let's get some calls going because I want to hear Giants Nation. I want to hear what people are thinking, feeling. I don't really know how to feel personally.
Santa Barbara, you got the Santa Barbara, you got the Gauchos hat going, huh?
Oh, I know. I got this hat online because I was like, or a while back, but I was like, I don't really have any UCSB.
Oh, hey, you know what? I got to grab my other hat. I think I wore it last night, but I got a new Warriors hat. Let me don that one here. Hold on.
Break her out. All right, yeah, everybody come in, call in with your negative comments, and let's all just grieve together. It makes it way more fun.
Champion, 2022 champs.
Oh, God, Dan, stop living in the past.
Hey, it's only a couple of weeks.
The under 500 by the All-Star. But yeah, what do you think of this hat I'm rocking? Because I saw it online. I was like, ooh, it's kind of a cool, like gray, slight blue.
It looks bluish. Yeah, it looks
it's quite blue. It doesn't quite represent the school nor the colors. Honestly, I think it probably looks a little better on my girlfriend. But hey, what can you do?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the Giants have 10 games left. Is it right? Yeah, 10 games left and they're 1 game over 500. I mean, it's very possible with 10 games left, they're 40-41. They could go, if they win 3 and lose 7, I mean, they could be like 43-48 at the break. Ugh. I mean, we're getting to, there's still the deadline, trade deadline's August 2nd, but I don't think this team is a sell team. I think they've got some vets that know how to win. Jock Peterson's won a couple of world championships recently.
That was a real bummer that he did not get a legitimate AB because he looked freaking locked in.
Oh yeah, well you knew they were going to do that.
I mean, it would have mattered with Listella on second, but
I mean, yeah, I think I texted you before the inning. I said they're going to have to homer to get Listella in. I mean,
even if they had a line drive, great base hit, even if it's slightly in the gap, I think they hold up Listella. So once I saw they had their speedy shortstop, Kim, I was just like, yeah, we're going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand the defense that they played there with it was a really good bunt that they laid down. I mean, you just got to go right to first immediately. I mean, he pumped to third. He kind of looked too long, if I remember. He looked really long.
He shouldn't have even glanced at third.
The defense, I mean, I got to say this. VR seems like a quiet type of guy. He doesn't look like he feels like he belongs right now. It's kind of weird.
He looks a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's almost like somebody's got to say, "Hey, look, you're in the big leagues now. You're the guy. You're here. You belong, and just relax. Show your stuff." But I mean, even in he took that call. I mean, he was obviously sitting on a slider, and he put that 96-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle, and he just wasn't even. He was like shocked, but you could see his body language. He just looks like, like, man, I'm just. He doesn't look to me like he's confident.
He doesn't, and it's a bummer because I that was a big spot. I thought maybe he would. Thought that could be a really giant hit for the season if he got it. You know what? And then it was pretty cool that Crawford stepped up and he's slumping, and it felt like Webb he didn't have his best stuff. I mean, we had 2 strikeouts, and he just battled all the way to through the 8th inning. And
his only one bad pitch really was that hanger to Machado. I mean, he kind of
smoked.
You don't have to do that with Machado. And it was an 0-2 count. He threw a changeup right over the plate. You saw what Levera did to him, just throwing hooks on the outside. Look like they're going to, come in and they break for out, and Machado chases those.
Yeah.
That's what Webb is really good at. And he just, he made a mistake and it cost him.
Can't blame him for it. And, he grinded for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And, he seemed like he was out there competing, trying to hold on to this momentum, trying to build something. And then Crawford comes up in a freaking huge spot. 2 outs, that was just an awesome hit. And it's a little sad that now we're celebrating close losses, but at least you could feel a little bit of life in the boys. But that bottom of the 10th was brutal, man. I mean, seriously, it was Garcia or Marte?
Close at the end?
Yeah.
Garcia.
Yeah, it was Garcia. Garcia, I mean, I feel a little bad for him because, I mean, literally, he basically doesn't even throw a pitch and the game's over. Like, they intentionally walked Nola, put runners on first and second. Then they immediately bunt. I think he's throwing 2 pitches at that point when you've got runners on everywhere. And what are you going to do? I mean,
well, what I don't understand with Gabe's move, in the 10th inning, when the home team just needs to get 1 run, you need strikeouts with a guy on second. Where's McGee? You must have lost all confidence in Jake McGee because that's your strikeout guy. You try and overpower a guy and strike him out because that's the only real chance you got to get is you got to get that first guy to strike out, because once you bunt him over with less than 2 out, it's pretty much going to be tough to win because all they got to do is get a sacrifice fly. So I don't know why McGee's not. I mean, to me, if you're not going to use Jake McGee, then just DFA him because that's what he's there for. He's a strikeout pitcher, and you needed a strikeout. It just doesn't make any sense. So they have zero confidence in Jake McGee. That's what I see out of this.
Yeah, I mean, also, we got a bullpen game going tomorrow. I mean, a part of me was like, holy crap, is Webb just going to go out there? I mean, in the 9th? But it's just, I mean, it was just a really unfortunate, brutal bottom of the 10th. And you know what? We set ourselves up for it because, here we go. Somebody at the door.
Answer the door.
Thanks for calling the Krueger Show. Who is this?
Hey, what's up, guys? Eric from Beale. How's it going?
Hey, it's Romo. Eric, how you doing, bud?
Doing good. It'd be much better if maybe we scored a run in the 10th. That would have been a lot better. But
how about just advance the runner?
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand why they just can't do it, especially when you got Listella at second. it's not like he's going to be a guaranteed guy coming in from second to home. So put the ball over on third and then try to go from there.
I mean, I'm sorry, but yeah, Romo, I mean, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but when you have 2 hits in a game and you just can't string anything together except for Crawford, pulled out a little bit of magic. And it's like, all right, you have 2 hits. It's the 10th inning. You have a slow runner on second. Maybe, just maybe play a little small ball. Maybe we just bunt him over. Maybe we bunt him over. And then we have a runner on third, and the pressure
on the defense.
All you need is a freaking sac fly, and the Giants can do that.
Exactly.
They lead the league, or they used to. As of a week or so ago, they led the league in sac flies. So I don't know.
What do you think about Slater not here? Nick J said in the 9th, Slater should have tagged up on the deep ball.
I thought it would have been who was out there in left field? Was it the new guy?
Here's the new guy.
Yeah, okay. It was the new guy that took over for Profar. It was Azakar. Okay. No, he was playing right field. In left field, it was Mazara. So, I mean, it was a pretty decent throw to third, but I was thinking he might give it a shot since, he's pretty fast. It was right there at the edge of the track. But I mean,
it's also just like, I think we were talking about it the other day, like Slater's probably our fastest guy. And like, he's our fastest guy. I mean, he's a 70 speed or something like that in MLB The Show. Like he can't tag up on a deep fly ball from second to third. And that's our fastest guy. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I would have liked to seen it. I thought he was going to, I would have at least made it go halfway and kind of judge where the throw, sometimes you can see where the throw's going. If it's offline, if it's, kind of running up the third baseline a little bit to the foul territory side of the bag, it's like, okay. Or if it's like, oh my goodness, this is a laser, I got to get back. You can kind of see that a little bit. And he probably did bluff a little bit.
Well, and I'm sure that the whole analytics approach is like, if it's even close, don't go. We can't afford to lose you on the base paths. Same thing with the stolen bases, but guess what? We don't have anything going. Sometimes you just have to make something happen. It forced them to make a tremendous play. If they make it, take your hat off to them. But there's also a great chance that, you put a little pressure on them. They, it's an overthrow or, doesn't dig it out. And all of a sudden, we got a little momentum going. So it's just, I'm now no longer super disappointed because my expectations, I think that's our problem.
It's kind of like,
we had expectations of competing for the division and winning 95 to 100 games. And, this team, I mean, if you look at the Pythagorean, which is pretty spot on Baseball Reference, where they just, they look at your runs and your runs against, it's just like the classic Bill James thing. I think they were off. We're like 1 game under what the expectancy should be. So I don't think that we're like getting hosed in these games or anything. I think that this is just about what the ball club is.
I mean, it's a club that is old and has a lot of holes in it. And, you can expect to have a game like they did last night every now and then, and you should. But
Romo, if you had Farhan and Kapler's ear, what would be? Do you have any ideas?
Goodness,
that's a big question. But
what do you? I don't even know. I mean, it's
I mean, the ball's
so
not
because I mean, I understand. Yeah,
go ahead.
Kapler's horrible at game managing. I mean, that's a fact. But as far as the cards that he's been dealt, I mean, that's Farhan's thing. So I think it's kind of a joint failure, I guess you would say, on both parts, because the way it's looking right now is just not. It's not looking good. And I remember hearing, I think it must have been on KMBR years ago when Sabian was still the GM. He's like, I'm not going to make any moves until the team can show me that, I need to make moves. And right now, I don't see the team showing anybody that they want to make any type of moves to go for a trade.
That's facts.
You look at the Phillies, they're winning right now, and they don't even have Harper. But you look at their lineup: Schwarber, Hoskins, Castellanos, Real Muto. This kid Stott's doing okay, and then they've got the third baseman that Alex Baum, yeah, he's not bad. Then they got Mickey Moniak. He's not hitting worth a darn, but he was a former like number 1 draft pick in the entire draft a few years back. But excuse me, they've got, Schwarber, Hoskins, Castellanos. That's the first 3 guys you face. That's kind of like, you're looking at some guys that, you're all 3 of them can hurt you. And yet they don't have much defense, but they're hitting the ball. They got guys that can hit. And you look at their, take a look at the standings now. The wild card standings, the Giants are 2 back of St. Louis, and the Phillies are now in the 3rd position. So Atlanta, then San Diego, and then Philadelphia. And then we fall further back now we're 5.5 behind San Diego. Have to win, must win 2 of the next 3, but ideally 3 of 3 would to get back in the race with them.
Yeah, I think the race is over. This point, I have no idea how the freaking Cardinals are floundering like this. There seems like their pitching's awesome. Their relievers are awesome, and they've the top 3 guys in all of baseball in wins above replacement. And how are they basically our same record? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Yeah, they're 45-40, and the Giants are 41-40. So they're with them in the loss column, tied.
Yeah.
So, and the Giants are really only 1 game behind the Phillies in the loss column. So, it's a long season. Teams are going to, we're pretty much at the halfway point today, right? 41-40. Yep. Yeah. So exactly halfway. So we're on pace for 82 wins. Yeah. They're going to have to pick it up. They're probably going to need to win 88 games at least to get into that 3rd wild card spot, I'm guessing.
I can't. I thought I already basically cashed the over wins in my brain, and now it's
was it 84.5 or something?
84.5, and now it's looking sweaty. So here's another thing that I thought was interesting. So just in terms of, I thought this was pretty representative of, the juice, the San Francisco juice that's kind of lacking, even within the crowd. Going back to the year 2000 on Baseball Reference, they rank you in comparison to the rest of your league. So like the National League. So it's out of 16 in terms of attendance. Oh, sorry. So, Anyway, so if we go back to the year 2000, I'm going to rattle them off and see if you see kind of a sad trend. All right. 2000, we were 2nd in attendance. 2001, we were 1st. 2002, we were 1st. 2003, we were 1st. 2004, we were 2nd. 2005, 3rd. 2006, 4th. 2007, 5th. 2008, 7th. 2009, 7th. Then 2010, 5th, 2011, 2nd, 2012, 2nd, 2013, 3rd, 2014, 3rd, 2015, 3rd, 2016, 3rd, 2017, 3rd, 2018, 4th, 2019, 7th, 2020, when we won 107 games.
No fans in 20, though.
No, 2020 was no fans.
Oh, you're right. It's not even on there. Oh, sorry.
Cutouts.
2021, when we won 107 games, we were
probably 13th. Oh,
8th out of 15 in the National League. That is the lowest we've had in 20 years. And
these are just National League, not all of baseball?
Yeah, just National League.
So we were averaging 2nd, 3rd. I heard a lot of thirds.
3rd. The leanest years were 07 to 09 before we went on that next run, and we must have
been like St. Louis a lot.
Yeah, we never got lower than 7th. And so it's like, what the heck? 8th out of 15 in a year where we win 107 games. Now this year we're at 7th. So
it tells you where the fan base is, because there's nothing really. 2020. Here's the problem, and I'm gonna take a shot at the city here. I probably shouldn't, but city of San Francisco last year didn't allow for a lot of fans because of COVID until much later in the season, where LA had opened it up earlier. And, so what happens is you got all these people in the city that can't go to the games because they have a limit of like 15,000. And then when they finally opened it up to full, so many people were still kind of on the edge with COVID and all that. So this year, the fans, I think there's been a tail off. There was some excitement in the beginning, but they still weren't coming out to the games.
No, but
early on in the season.
Even when they were winning, we were kind of like, well, you know how it is in the baseball season. Warriors are in the playoffs, and the season doesn't really get started. Everyone gets excited at first, and then it kind of tails off, and it picks back up midsummer. No.
Well, how much had to do with the lockout? With the lockout being they delayed the season,
animosity,
and there's probably some people that just kind of got irritated. So I don't know. I mean, it's not happening all over. I mean, LA's still filling it up, 45,000 plus.
There was that. What made me think about that is just, I was like, there's a lot of Giants fans at the stadium in San Diego, but that crowd was they were getting into it, man. You could feel the energy of the crowd. And I remember even like listening to national guys like Bill Simmons back in the day when we were making those playoff rounds, and they would put us at the top of the entire country and the entire league in terms of our how awesome our fans were and that energy in the stadium.
Yeah.
And it's like we had, that was a thing that I always felt really proud of, is like Oracle, before the Warriors were even good, everyone said it was the best crowd in the league. And yeah, it's a little diluted now, but it's still spectacular considering, all the how much money it takes. And it's a bummer, man. I think that the magic, it's the magic is kind of gone. And because when you reach the mountaintop like that, it kind of takes a lot more to bring you back to the TV, because how is it going to live up to it?
Well, yeah. I mean, and there's, like I said last night on the show, it doesn't matter what your leanings are. When you alienate some people with Gabe's, what he's doing, he ticks off a lot of people. There's a lot of people that say, hey, respect the flag, whatever your views are, don't take it out on the national anthem. So that's going to tick off a lot, of people. And
I mean, my opinion, not to get political at all, but my sort of read on it was like, of course, okay, the Kaepernick thing was massive. There's been stands, there's been stuff that's been massive, and it's made national news and all this. And Steve Kerr, like, he's so eloquent, so great after in the post games, like when he's talking about the Uvalde shootings and everything. And it kind of feels like Kapler. It kind of feels like Kapler thought that he was a little bit bigger of a deal than he was. It felt like, all right, dude, like most people in the entire country have no idea who the Giants manager is, let alone the name. And it just felt like he thought he was making this great stand or whatever. And it's just like, dude, like kind of nobody cares. Like,
yeah, and it was not, like Tony La Russa came out and said, hey, I love Gabe. Gabe, I agree with what he's saying, but not the flag. That's not the right thing. Don't take it out on the national anthem. You're making the wrong type of statement. So, and then, other players, former players came out, said the same thing, hey, Gabe and I are great friends, but totally disagree with him on this. So point being is, when you're going to do something that is going to, unless you got 100% buy-in from everybody, it's so clear, don't make something that you are going to irritate a lot of people. Because I'll tell you what, there are fans that probably looked at that and said, I'm not going to go see the Giants because of that. I don't have any facts. I just think it's probably true, because there's people that are you were in the service, right, Romo?
I was. Yep.
Yeah. So how did that make you feel when you heard it?
Oh, I didn't like it. I don't like any of that. When they start look, if I understand everyone has a right to their opinion and what they want to feel, certain causes, that's fine. But when you start taking it out just on either the national anthem or anything like that, the reason why we have the national anthem is because people, died for you to have that right to be able to speak up. And when you're kind of throwing dirt at that, that's kind of that gives me a bad taste in the mouth, and I just don't like it. I mean, it's when you're wearing, and especially when you're wearing a uniform. I love the Giants, and when you're wearing a uniform, you're speaking for the team, the fans, the players, and it's almost like he made it more about himself rather than the repercussions of what it could take on the entire organization, including the fans. I think it was just. I mean, I understand what he's trying to do. I'm not, like I said, I'm not. He has his right to feel, but the way he wants to feel. But I think it was just misdirected in the direction that he took it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Dan brought up an interesting point the other day, or maybe it was Larry, about, I mean, it's as much as, us in the Bay Area all love our Giants. It's no secret that a lot of the guys in the bigs, including our San Francisco Giants, they lean a different way than the NBA guys. And, the one thing I'll say, I don't personally think it's that big of a deal unless maybe it's rubbing the players the wrong way, just because I think we're a little desensitized with, Kaepernick, and then, Steve Kerr. We all are behind everybody. Steve Kerr's a god in the Bay Area, and I don't really care what your political leanings are. I think everyone's just like, I'm cool with that, man. I'm cool with it because it's the Warriors and it's awesome.
Well, you can see it's his passion and his heart. Gabe's kind of like, I'm just going to make he's got this calculate. There's no passion behind it. It's just, I'm choosing to not stand for the national anthem until.
Yeah, Larry. So we've been doing about 30 minutes. Sorry, Romo. Larry's back in. We've been doing.
Who's on the line right now?
Romo.
Romo. Hey, what's going on, Romo?
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, Larry? Good to hear you. Come on.
Yeah, we just asked Romo how he felt because we knew he was in the service.
30 minutes hardcore alienating politics.
Oh no,
not politics. We're talking about Gabe and the whole thing about how Ryan talked about how the Giants are 7th currently in the National League in attendance, and he was read off from 2000. How they were like 1, 2, or 3 for many years through like 2018, and then they started tailing off. Last year with 107 wins, they were 7th or 8th, and this year they're 7th. And I made the point that, the lockout has hurt some people, and that it's possible. I don't have any facts, but what Gabe's decision to not stand for the national anthem may have alienated some fans. It's just quite possible.
It's also like, you know what? You don't want to take a picture next to Brad Pitt, right after he got his teeth whitened and all this. It's like, you're going to look horrible. We play a boring brand of ball. And right next door is the most exciting team in all of sports. Yeah. Just, so it's a tough come down. Seriously, it's a tough come down. It's kind of hard to get super stoked about them right after witnessing something like that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons for the attendance going down. Let's take one. I drove in this morning to go on 95.7 The Game. There wasn't hardly any traffic. I just cruised right in. So that tells me I used to worry by 9 o'clock in the morning because it was just so many people. Now, today I breezed right in. Now, that tells me that there's still a lot of people that are either working virtually or at least working part-time virtually. So that's a big part of it. This is a downtown San Francisco stadium. There's a lot of people that live in the Bay Area in a bunch of different spots, but they work downtown. And then what happens is you're at work, and then Bob walks up to you and says at work, hey, I got an extra ticket tonight. You want to go? Well, in 2017, you may have called your wife and said, hey, honey, I'm thinking I might go with Bob to the Giants game tonight. I'll be home a little later. And she said, great. And that was it. And you went to the game. And I think that kind of behavior repeated over and over and over again, where there was an awful lot of people going to the game, with that story. Those people are all not going. Now it's like, wait a second. Well, I live in Pleasanton, and yeah, somebody's got tickets, but do I want to go all the way into the city? And then I've heard all the stories about human feces and needles and this and that. Do I really want to? And, London Breed doesn't give a damn about people breaking into my cars or the prosecution. The DA is super soft on crime. He's not interested in pursuing any criminals. So, somebody's going to bust into my car and steal my stuff. And you know what? It's just a gigantic pain in the ass. And by the way, it's on TV. And by the way, I could listen to it on the radio. And I'm at home. And, so people, and the gas is expensive. That's the other thing.
All those things.
It's gas. It's lack of commuters. It's the pandemic. It's the economy. It's inflation. It's all these things. They're all wrapped into one. And then we haven't even gotten to the Giants. Then you add in the Giants where they're boring as shit, and they have no stars, and their farm system hasn't spit out any talent, and they just lost Posey and Bryant. I mean, it's just like anything else. If any business lost assets like Posey and Bryant and Solano and replaced them with nothing, they would be sending a message, whether they want to or not, of how they view their product. And the Giants made a very loud statement by letting those players go and not replacing them. And so the audience is very keen, very clued in. And so they're like, well, wait a second. You know what? My financial equation sucks. It costs a ton. My car's going to get broken into. The toll's a ton. The gas is a ton. The tickets are a ton. And you know what? What are the Giants doing? Are they doing anything to really lure me? Nah.
Well,
you know what? Screw them. I'll watch it on TV.
I was thinking about this with the tickets and marketing. They draw nobody for weeknight games, Tuesday, Wednesday night, or Monday night. Those three, they draw. Maybe they announce it 22,000. It looks like about 12 in there. Why not do a 2-for-1? Like who used to do that? Was it the A's that they used to have one night a week or something? That was certain night was 2-for-1. Do something to attract the fans. I mean, you're gouging them. I mean, you're gouging us season ticket holders. We're the ones that are supporting the club. They don't even care if people show up because they've got, all the season ticket holders.
But even that base has gone way down.
Well, it's going down, but they need to do something to attract more people. The weekends are fine. I mean,
I'm sorry, but when the Angels the Angels have a better attendance than us this year. I mean, that is as bad as I know.
We got a better show. It's a better show.
See Ohtani and Trout.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. I just want to make the point that, we won 107 games last year, and yes, I think the stars factor into it, but also, I don't want to put all this blame on the city and the politics, because it's actually much worse in LA. I mean, getting to Dodger Stadium, I lived 15 minutes from it. It would take me an hour and a half to drive there on game nights, and it takes you forever to get into Chavez Ravine. To find parking's ridiculous. That city's,
Brian, look at not to interrupt you, but look at the population difference between Southern California and Northern California. There's a lot more people to choose from down there. Here, fewer people go more often here. Down there, you have more people that are going. They're going to draw 3 million, but they don't go as often. So they
draw close to 4 million, I think. Aren't they about 3.7 generally?
Yeah, I mean, they're number one in the league in attendance.
Yeah. By the way, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, congratulations. Becoming a YouTube team member. Thank you for joining the Krueger Show team membership. And, of course, team members get little special content and also shouted out here in the chat. So our newest member, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche. Welcome aboard.
All right. Welcome. Hey, I'm looking at I was talking about the Phillies, the difference, the Giants are now trailing the Phillies by a couple games. And you look at the lineup, the Phillies, Schwarber, Hoskins, Castellanos, first three. And that's without Harper. Add Harper there, you got 4 hitters that you got to be worried about, and I'm looking, they played tonight. They beat the Nationals. Where's the box scores that show the attendance? I thought they used to show the attendance on.
It usually
things.
Does in the bottom though. It should be the final. It should be the final. The final thing for any box is usually the attendance.
Exactly, and I don't see it here. And I'm looking at ESPN's box. Maybe I need to go to MLB's site, but I'm curious what the Phillies drew on a Thursday night, since they're in the race, and maybe I'll go to the MLB site.
But I mean, to me, the problem is that there's nothing about the Giants players that make you go, I gotta see that guy. Who is the gotta see guy on the San Francisco Giants? There is not one. There is not a gotta see guy. I mean, if we had to say, come up with the one guy on the 40 man that you gotta see, go ahead.
I mean, I like Webb. Watching Webb and Rodon pitch is pretty fun. I mean,
on the 40,
Webb. Okay,
the best guys, most exciting guys are off the 40 probably, but
I mean, right now, if you said the most exciting guy, you're going to say Logan Webb, who's what, the 25th best pitcher in the league, or I don't know.
Yep.
And so they don't have that guy, and then the brand of ball they're playing is sleepy as hell. They had 2 hits tonight in 10. 2 hits.
That is awful.
The Giants have lost 13 of 17. In those 17 games, they have scored over 3 runs 6 times. They've scored 3, 2, 1, or 0 11 times in the last 17 games. They're anemic as hell. They don't score runs. I hate to say it because I said it years ago, and I'm now quoting for myself, but it's literally soccer in spikes. You know, I mean, there's no offense to be found. And then where's the creativity? I don't know if you guys have already hit this, but let's talk about tonight's game. They get to the 10th inning. They've got Listell on second base. If you don't score in the top of the inning in extras, that it allows the team in the bottom of the inning to just play for 1 run because and they've got Austin Wins up there and they've got Listell on second. Do they bunt Wins over to second base and give Wade and Peterson and Flores 3 really good bats? Do they give those guys a chance to, a single or sac fly or a ground ball, maybe get some in? No.
Was it Wins that led off the inning?
Yeah, Wins struck out. Then Wade struck out. Both swinging.
I couldn't remember who led off. I was thinking it was Wade. You got to bunt him. Try and bunt him. You got to bunt.
You got to bunt. And then Wilmer Flores struck out as well. I mean,
I don't know if you caught this on the broadcast, but I mean, I'm starting to, at least maybe I'm being, I'm searching, but I'm finding that Fleming, these guys, Kuiper, they're dropping little tiny breadcrumbs for us. I feel like, that inning, it's like, okay, we have 2 hits the entire goddamn game, and we have Listell on second. So even if we get a hit, he's probably not going to score. Just lay down a freaking bunt and let's give us a chance so that we just have to hit a sac fly. We got something we can do. And then in the bottom of the 10th, we walk Nola. So we have runners on first and second. Then they immediately bunt, and it was tough play, and it was played poor.
It was a bad play. It was a bad play by Harleen, who never should have looked over at third.
No.
Grisham runs well. I mean, take the out. Now it wouldn't have mattered anyway because the next guy popped one to the track, and but still, I mean. It just that was a bad decision by Harleen Garcia. That was a huge mistake by him.
But I don't know
once again, the Giants didn't get anything done in this game. I mean, Manny Machado hits an 0-2 pitch out for a solo shot in the 4th inning. And you sit there and go, well, what this is, you can't keep a team down all day, all night. Manny Machado's having an MVP type year against the Giants this year. He's hitting .423 with 2 homers, 5 doubles, 3 triples, 5 runs, and 3 walks. I mean, he's putting on an offensive clinic. And Manny Machado, I thought Webb pitched brilliantly.
Yeah.
He challenged guys in the zone. Sometimes guys are going to take you out of the yard. But, I mean, how about the Giants don't get their first hit until Lamont Wade doubles in the 6th? And do they even get him to third? Nope. I mean, my goodness, Peterson popped out. Flores walked. I guess he went to third on the fielder's choice, but Yaz struck out with 2 aboard. That was probably the biggest rally opportunity they had all night.
Yeah,
I mean, Peterson looks like he's pressing because it's like, if I don't get a hit and get this, get a big double off the wall or something, then he's going to be stranded out there because nobody's moved the line.
There was a lot of pressing out there, but anyway, I just wanted to mention. So on the broadcast, they said there's 2 things. One, after they laid down the bunt, he said, the thing about Bob Melvin is he is the perfect like hybrid of, this new school analytics and everything, but he has the hybrid of the old school and the laying down the bun and the lost art of the bun and playing small ball in these situations. That to me felt a little bit like it'd be nice to maybe do that once in a while. And they also said, they're talking about interviewing Kapler and all the time that they spend interviewing Kapler. And what they said is, thing about Kapler, he's a really smart guy. And, the thing is, though, is you ask him questions and he doesn't answer. He just asks you questions right back. He's a really interesting guy. And I was just like, that does just seem like Kapler, man.
That's annoying as shit. That's what that is. I'm asking you a direct question, and you're going to sit there and ask me a question. Don't ask me questions. I'll ask the questions.
Yeah,
you give answers. That's the way interviews should go. Don't be cagey and throw it back in my face. Yeah. What would you have done in that situation? Or if you are, be ready to answer that question. Sometimes I think he throws it back in people's face because he knows they're not ready to answer the question. Ask the question and be ready to answer it. So if he wants to play smarty pants, look at my beard, I'm going to throw it back in your lap, then you can sit there and you can sit there and counter it. I think he always kind of takes he's got the element of surprise there where he's like, I'll roll these guys back in their heels. I'll ask them what they think. This blind, support for ridiculous moves. Like, you're pinch hitting for Jock Peterson on a team where Jock Peterson's easily your most dangerous threat.
In the fifth inning.
And you're doing it in the fifth inning because of lefty-righty games. And then when you actually research the numbers, you realize that Peterson's got better numbers against lefties this year than the guy they put in to replace him. So, it's frustrating. The whole thing's frustrating. I mean, tonight's game was, incredibly frustrating because, they get the hit from Crawford to tie the game, and you're thinking, okay, maybe they're gonna show some resolve. They're gonna fight back. They're gonna come back in this game. They're gonna make be heard from. No. And it's a frustrating deal because
big time Timmy Jim says here.
Yeah, he says year 4 of Farhan, and thanks for the $4.99. He says we're the least talented roster in the league. What are we doing? It's a great question. It's a great question.
It is a great question. I was listening to Arizona Sports Talk Radio today, and they were talking about the Diamondbacks, and their general manager is taking calls for some of their extra outfielders. They got about 7 or 8 guys they rattled off. And they've got some young guys that are really – and Pavin Smith is maybe one of those extra outfielders, Larry. And the other kid you mentioned what's the other kid you mentioned in your trade request with Mad Bum?
Jake.
Starts with an M, I think. The outfielder, real fast guy.
Yeah, his brother was with the Giants, and his brother's not nearly as good. I'll have to look it up. Jake, whatever. He's really fast.
Yeah, so they got so Diamondbacks are, they got more guys already. They've been probably ahead of the Giants when it comes to farm system. I looked at the farm system tonight. I mean, they did play in Salt Lake City, so take that as part of that. But the Giants did AAA scored 17 runs.
Jake McCarthy.
That's it. Yeah. And 17 runs tonight. Gonzalez was down for his rehab. He went 2 for 3 tonight with a base on ball and an RBI. Ramos went 3 for 6 with 4 RBIs and a home run. And Diaz, the other guy that I have some interest.
Eyes on Diaz
too. Imagine if he was on second base to start the 10th instead of LaStella. If you had him at second base, why is LaStella? Here's what I don't understand.
You'd still be standing there because they don't move. They didn't move runners along.
But maybe he, maybe he's a threat to steal. I don't know, something. But here's what I was a little bit irritated with tonight, to be honest. The 10th inning. You got Jake McGee in the bullpen, who's your strikeout guy. And you need a strikeout guy because that first out, you got to strike him out because it's man on second and he scores, game's over. So by not bringing in McGee in that situation, when you have to get at least try and get the first guy to strike out, tells me the Giants have no confidence in Jake McGee. So my question is, why is he on the roster? Why is he on the roster if you're not going to use him in a strikeout situation?
I think you gain and lose confidence in guys a little bit as the season goes, and right now he's going through a lull, and so they're trying to go to other guys. I mean, this is kind of the problem with the Giants bullpen too, is that
no roles.
Well, it's a tough decision every night because they're all basically the same. Yep. There are guys who there's some guys who have better stuff, some guys throw harder, some guys throw softer, but they're all kind of relatively inconsistent. So they don't have like a for sure guy. I'll say this though. I thought one of the positives in the game tonight was Joe Vera in the ninth. I mean, he K'd Machado on a pitch that was down and away. It was nasty. Then he K'd Mazzara, set him up beautifully, throwing 96. Then he walked Luke Voit, but struck out Kim. I thought Joe Vera, I think it's pronounced Joe Vera. He looked good. I mean, he really did. I mean, his stuff looked really good tonight. So, I mean, it's just, the thing about the Giants and the Padres is that the Padres are just so much better. I mean, look at this team. I mean, and I'll tell you, watching Nomar Mazara hit 304 for them really hacks me off, because that is the kind of guy who has big power, hit 500-foot home runs in Texas, is young, doesn't make a lot of money, wouldn't have cost anything other than a little bit of a hustle and a little bit of projection to sign. And AJ Preller gets him. And so now the Padres are going and getting impact bats by going and making trades, by making free agent signings, and they're out hustling the Giants for the guys on the perimeter, the guys on the edges. Why are the Giants not interested in the Nomar Mazzaras? He's not old. You've got a bevy of hitting instructors. You believe that you're teaching the game and instructing the game better than your opponents. Why wouldn't you take a chance on a guy like that who makes no money? There was no financial commitment there. It was just a flyer. Take a flyer on a guy who's got some big time ability that Baseball America listed as like a top 5 prospect in all of baseball. Instead, no, they're passive. They let him go to San Diego. Now he's hitting 304 coming into today. He had 3 hits in the game the other day against the Mariners. I'm not saying that Nomar Mazara is the end all be all, but I mean, he's a talented guy with a lot of power and a lot of bat speed. I think that part at least is undeniable. And you could have had him for nothing, and instead you let him go in the division. One I would sit there and go, well, if you're sitting there and you're just going to be a bottom feeder collecting every guy who's had any success in the past, who's happens to be available because they're waived in the minor leagues or whatever, why wouldn't you go for that guy? You're going to go for a Padlo. You're going to go for a Stewie Fairchild. You're going to go for these nothings, and you're going to bypass Nomar Mazara. I got to kind of question your ability to handicap.
Yeah, I mean, and then Factual Toilet at 11:22 said, Factual Toilet. Can you put in the comments how you came up with that moniker there? I'm just that's an interesting one. But he says LaStella needs to go on the IL for a phantom injury or something. He offers little in any facet. I mean, he did hit the line shot that got doubled up Crawford.
They can't hit.
Base.
I mean, they just cannot hit.
He's if a guy's, you can't put him out on the field because he's got a leg injury or foot injury or whatever, and he's not that mobile, and he's your DH. It's not like he's Bryce Harper who couldn't go out in the field before he broke his hand because he had a arm injuries, but he could still hit. LaStella is, I mean, if that's your DH, that's your
pathetic DH, some powerless DH. What is he? And what's his career high in home runs? 15, 16? That's your DH?
I mean, and that was years ago, probably.
It's pretty disturbing that it's like, I don't know. I mean, my whole life being a fan of the National League, and it's always like, man, these AL, it's not even fair. They get to just have some big lumbering home run Adam Dunn guy just being their DH. You can't play in the field. And it's like, well, we've got guys that are we just play utility players that are DH. I mean, how is that not a disadvantage?
He hit 16 in with the Angels in 2019, and then
that's not power. We call that pop. That's what that is. He's got pop. That's not power.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Now
they're in a weird spot right now. I mean, they got 4 against San Diego, then they come home for 7, 3 against Arizona, 4 against Milwaukee, and then it's the break. So it's basically 4, 7. They got 11 games, 10 now between now and the break. I was, realistically, I think they're going to be lucky to get 3 wins in there.
That's what I was saying. If they go 3-7, they end up 43-48 at the
3-8 in this last 11 game stretch. In this next 11 game stretch,
they just came off a 3-8 out of 11. If they go 3-8 again, my goodness, that'd be 6-16 in their last 22.
And I looked up the numbers, guys. They're 22nd in batting average. They're 22nd in total bases. They are mid-pack in slugging, 16th in slugging, 14th in OPS, 11th overall in runs scored in all of baseball.
They were before this stretch like 5th in runs scored. They were in the top 5.
Then you look at them. You look at the pitching. They're 21st in ERA, 19th in quality starts. But the number that really jumps out to me is they're 19th in strikeouts by their pitchers. So they're in the bottom third of baseball, basically, as far as getting strikeouts. So what does that mean? That means balls get put in play. So that means that there needs to be a premium
Where are they
on defense. And they
21st, 22nd?
7th in errors, but they're 21st in fielding percentage.
21st.
And I don't have the defensive runs saved, but I think they're even lower than that in defensive runs saved.
Yeah. I mean,
think about that. You can't strike guys out, and then your defense is playing kick the can. And you're scoring 2 runs or you're scoring under 3 runs in most of the games in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty spectacular, honestly, that we're the record that we are. And I was telling Danny before this, I've now reached a point where, I think our expectations were all skewed. We thought we might be a World Series contender. We thought we might win 95 games. The truth is, I don't think last year was a fluke. You look at all the math and it really, all the estimations, it's not like we had all these lucky wins. It actually is, I saw these estimates that would be like, 103 wins, we won a little more than that. It's fine. But this is just not, this is like a 500 ball club and, they
are 500 and tonight was game number 81. So tonight is exactly the halfway point and they're basically 500.
So I honestly, I'm at the point where
500 club.
Yeah, I'm not getting super. I'm no longer going to be super mad at this ball club because we don't have the talent, and I really don't know how to judge. All we can do is just make up fake trades that we could have happen.
No, we can't.
How about that? Bring that one up to Willard again tomorrow. The Yaz for Judge and. See how that goes over.
Willard, I couldn't believe Willard today. Willard was saying he was comparing him to last year's team. I'm like, what?
Oh, he loves. I listened to you guys, and it was kind of interesting because he loves Farhan, and you guys were talking about Will Clark and being a manager, and it's like he loves Will Clark, yet Will Clark would not fit in as the manager of. With this team because upper management would be saying, no, you can't do that. I mean, Will Clark would basically be disagreeing with half of Kapler's moves. He would say, just screw that platoon. I mean, could you imagine Will Clark? What? You're going to pinch hit for me?
Is that your Will Clark? This is a good one. Kyle McKiernan. He says, Larry told anyone driving around in 2019 to roll down their windows in their car and just scream out in unison, they can't hit. They just can't hit.
And he did. He yelled it out.
We had fun with that one morning. We're like, you know what? Just roll down your window and scream out the window. Honk your horn. They can't hit. They just don't hit. They cannot hit. You know, and Gary was laughing his ass off, and we were hearing people beep outside. You know, it's frustrating. It really is, because it's like, I've interviewed Farhan. I like him. I know he's smart. He's glib, but until his prospects that he invested in graduate to the big leagues, he hasn't done it yet. And if they're really going to wait until they have prospects, because I've heard that was mentioned today on the show, was that, you know, that they're not going to go for big time free agents until they have a bunch of prospects that are graduating to the big leagues. Well, that doesn't add up at all, because guys, I mean, you can see it and I can see it. Most of their best guys are in A-ball. So I think if you're going to be, you know, realistic about where they're at right now, they're not going to all of a sudden promote all these Luciano, Matos, Ramos guys. They're not all coming up in September. They may not even be ready to roll next April. It's going to take 2 years. Conservatively, it's going to take 2 years. Yeah. I think more realistic might be more like 4 years.
It takes a while to get a pipeline going.
If you're not going to sign free agents until after your prospects graduate to the big leagues, so what are you saying? Are you saying that you are not going to sign free agents of note for 5 more years? I don't think you're going to have this job in 5 more years. I don't. I don't. If you told me, because I mean, we can see the timelines. And it's not my timeline. It's just the way it is. You can see what you can see. You know, players don't just snap your fingers and they're there. It's a process. So look where they're at. This is, I think, year 4, right? Was Farhan's first year what?
19.
19? So 19, 20, 21. This is year 4. Does he have 4 more years to get his program going, and then in year 9 he's going to sign free agents? I mean, think about that. If at the opening presser of Farhan's regime, if he said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. I need you guys to give me 8 years to bring some prospects to the big leagues. And in that 8th year, when we start bringing prospects to the big leagues, we will then plan to spend significantly in that 9th year on free agent. People would have laughed. People would have laughed him out of the room. Everybody would have walked away saying, this guy's gone. There's no chance. But that is the trajectory that they're currently on. They're 4 years in. None of their prospects are in AAA or AA. They're very likely more like 3 or 4 years away from really seeing those prospects graduate to the big leagues, and maybe 5 years away from being in a position to comfortably pursue top-tier free agents. Guys, that's not Danny. You're a season ticket holder. I won't speak for you. I'll let you speak for yourself. But that ain't gonna fly.
No, won't be renewing if that's part of the plan. Maybe that's what they're afraid to do, is tell the plan. Because I know I will give him credit. He did sign Rodon and Jock Peterson in the offseason, 2 significant free agents, one of the best pitchers on the market, and Jock Peterson, and he got good contracts for the club. You know, he kind of went into the bat. He got Cobb this year, which is okay. Cobb's a decent 4th, 5th starter, but signing DeSclafani and Wood as like, okay, these are the guys you're going to build your rotation around over the next few years. DeSclafani got a 3-year deal. I mean,
look at and let's talk about that for a second. You know, Farhan talks about the bad contracts that he inherited, and there's no doubt about that. He's issued bad contracts.
Yep.
LaStella?
You think Tommy LaStella is a good contract? Nope.
Exactly.
Is DeSclafani a good contract? No.
By the way, Romo is still on the line.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Romo. Yeah, hey.
Romo, I've been dominating the conversation. You're just sitting there.
He's the guest. He's a good guest, man. He's a top guest. He's got manners, unlike me.
You guys are running the show. I'll input when I get a chance there. But I totally agree. He's got signed bad contract just as bad as Bobby Evans did, and it's just, and where has it gotten us? It's gotten us nowhere. And I think, honestly, with the Rodon, I think that was kind of a deal with Boras. You know how Boras is. He's just trying to get his guy to get a really good year so that he could get that bigger contract. He's going to walk next year. He's going to opt out. No doubt about it. He's going to get a bigger contract somewhere else. That's why I think maybe they should trade him at the deadline.
They probably should, if you think about it, because he probably will walk and sign for 4 years or maybe even get a 5th year like Gausman, because that's what he wants. So he took the $22 million flyer with an option. If he had a crappy year and didn't bet, at least he's got 22 bagged for next year. But he's pitching like a guy that's going to be one of the top pitchers available on the market. And those guys get 30 minutes.
Ask yourself this. What is going to be the positive of this season? Some people would say, hey, maybe they'll squeeze into the wild card. I don't see that. It's not crazy, but I don't see it happening. I really think when you take a real close look at this thing, they need to trade Rodon in July, and they need to get a piece of the puzzle that's going to be here, in the future. And whether it's a hitter, a pitcher, that is up in the air. But I think they need to trade Rodon, because Rodon, his 2-year contract, it's perfect. It's perfectly tradable.
Well, he's got an option though, Larry. So he can opt out this year.
He can opt out at the end of the year.
Yep.
But okay, so maybe it's a rental. But I still think
that he wants to resign.
He would still fetch, though. He would still fetch you something
massively. Look at what Scherzer got. Granted, they threw in Trey Turner, but
you give Rodon to someone like the Yankees, or somebody maybe like the Astros, or maybe we could.
If you traded Rodon, if you traded Rodon and you got a piece to the puzzle, GD5 here at the bottom says Rodon and Matos for Brian Reynolds. I don't know if I would do that, but if you just traded Rodon, first of all, Rodon and Matos, now you're trading prospects and major leaguers. I think you could probably just trade a guy like Rodon and get something decent. If you
want to get a guy like Reynolds under control, you'd have to give up one of your better prospects.
I don't get the feeling that that's what Farhan would do. I'm going to zag a little bit here because, there's a chance. There's a lot of landmines in the free agency. And if we just said, you know what, just to appease the fans and everything, and we have all this money, let's just do it. Let's just 5 years. We're going to get someone that's 29 years old. It's Trevor Story or whoever. He could be potentially we could be paying this massive contract on the same exact team, basically. Maybe he's worth 1 or 2, 3 wins. But I think we'd just be mad about that because it's like, well, how does that fit into the timeline? He's our one guy we have locked up. I honestly want to hear Farhan's perspective on prospects, because you listen to a guy like Daryl Morey, who's super, analytical. He doesn't value prospects he doesn't value draft picks at all, because he knows, people get infatuated with them and there's a lot of misses. And so I wonder what Farhan's concept is. Does he just think, we just get as many lottery tickets as possible? I just don't know. I don't understand why we always for these past 4 years, we've led the bigs in age. In the age of our players, and I just don't really know where it's going.
He inherited those guys. That's where it's going. He inherited those guys. He didn't bring those guys here. He inherited them. That's why they're so old.
He had a chance to move on from Belt and Crawford. Crawford, you kind of had to re-sign coming off that great year.
I don't count those guys. Those guys are they're good as gold. They can stay here, but just all the other. Why does everybody have to be 30 years old? It's just
like Ruff and LaStella.
Well, first of all, because when you go in free agency, everybody is 30 years old.
Yeah,
a young free agent is 28. or 29. There's nobody 20. I mean, because the way baseball is it, what is it, 5 years of control coming out of the minor leagues or whatever it is? So guys don't even become free agents until, even if they get to the big leagues early, like Harper, then maybe they might be 26 when they hit free agency. But most of these guys come to the big leagues and 23, 24, 5 years of control, they're 27, 28, 29 in that range. And if they're a couple years older, now you're looking at guys, paying big money for guys in their 30s. So they're just going to have to, get creative. They're going to have to, first of all, they're going to have to show that they can hit in the draft. I mean, there's just no way around that. Yeah. Everything else, we can talk about trading Rodon, trading for this guy, trading away that guy. If they don't start hitting in the amateur draft, it won't matter. It will not matter. That's the biggest factor.
If we trade Rodon, I'd prefer if we just got not just like one prospect. I want like 3 or 4 I want 3 or 4 lottery tickets, because even look at that, Scherzer Trey Turner trade. They gave up their top 2 guys in their whole farm system. Neither of them are doing anything in the bigs. So, I just want as many lottery tickets as possible. Also, I want to know, are we rebuilding, but with this whole sort of, analytical approach, we're still trying to grind out as many wins as possible to set a winning culture, because we don't want to like go completely in the tank. Because I don't know. Like, I mean, it's not like the NBA or NFL where you have a losing season, you have a guaranteed, top guy that has a like 70% chance of being awesome. Baseball, it seems so random in these drafts. So maybe Farhan just doesn't even value, being at the top of the draft for a couple of years. I don't know.
I think it's a situation where he knows he has to do 2 things at once. On one hand, he's got to hit in the draft, and he knows it. But on the other hand, he's got to make every possible move that he possibly can to make them competitive at the major league level. And so, but I mean, he's not armed with anything. And you guys were talking about the attendance. You said they're 7th this year. They were 7th last year.
I just wrote it all down. Want me to rip through it?
Well, give me the attendance. I'd love to hear it.
Okay. This is I gave National League before. This is all of baseball, starting in 2000.
Why don't we start in 2010?
Okay, 2010. 9, 3, 4, 3.
So they're 9th in 2010.
Yeah.
They're 11th, you said?
No. 9th in 2010, 3 in 2011, okay. 4 in 2012, 3 in 2013, 4 in 2014, 3 in 2015, 4 in 2016, 3 in 2017.
Wait, 2016 they're 4.
They were horrible too.
2017 what?
2017 they were 3rd in the entire bigs. 2018 5th in the entire bigs. 2019 11. Then we're skipping 2020. Last year when they won 107 games, 12. This year 12. So. And if you
so they've backslid. They've backslid.
The early 2000s. That's
started in what 18 going down. What was they in 18, right?
In 18, they were still 5th in the entire bigs. I mean, 4th.
I can't believe they were that after the 17
and Farhan
season.
took over in 19. You said,
yeah. And then he immediately.
So basically, since Farhan, they were in the let's say 5 years prior to Farhan, they were 5th, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, and 4th, and in the years since they've been
11, 12, 12.
11, 12, and 12. Wow.
And even if you look at the trend of like the early 2000s, it's 3, 2, 3, 3.
What does that tell?
4,
you know what that tells me?
7. And then we had the 2 down years of 08 and 09 where we were 11 and 10. Then 2010 we were 9. Then right back up to huge attendance.
You know what that tells me, guys?
What?
Tells me that the fans feel just like we do. They're not excited about the Stewie Fairchilds and the Padlows and the Mike Fords and the Austin Wynns and the you name it, guys that I've never heard of before.
Hey, these guys made a trade today. Cash considerations for a pitcher from the Guardians.
Yeah, a guy who's
record in the minors,
1-9 or something like that with a 6 ERA. He's given up 73 hits in like 60 innings, and this is a guy they paid cash for. What I mean,
Why?
What is it that they see? This guy's bounced around already 3 times, and he was in the original. He was in a big trade originally. I'll look it up. What was the guy's name? Tyler or something?
Taylor
Myers.
Myers. Tobias Myers.
Tobias Myers. I'll check. He was in some big trade. I think it was involving the Tampa Ray.
Wasn't there a guy from Arrested Development named Tobias?
Yeah. Wait, was his name Tobias? I love that character.
That's a great show, man.
Giants swing trade with Guardians.
That shouldn't be called a trade.
Swing. Okay. I mean,
How did they swing that? How did they pull that doozy?
NBC Sports. Gosh,
that I could picture the last part of the negotiation. Is that it? No, you gotta stock my machine with soda. I need soda. I don't want my guys paying for soda.
Myers has allowed 40 earned runs in 60 innings this season with the highest walk rate of his minor league career and a low strikeout rate. But hey, prior to this season, he looked like someone who might pitch in the big leagues in 2022. He had a 3.9 ERA for the Rays across 2 levels last year and averaged 11.2 strikeouts per 9 innings. Okay, so this is a guy that's the typical Farhan signing, a guy who's had value, had some success a couple years prior, and we're going to go off that success, even though he's in a downfall. So we'll pick up the guys on the downfall, and maybe you get a guy that just happens to hit it. I mean,
the Giants are the team. Giants are the only team in the big leagues that not only would no one would want to buy a jersey, you wouldn't even want to buy a jersey.
No, seriously, it's like what? Because I don't know who's going to be on the team in a couple of years. It's a little bit of an investment,
I don't want to buy I'm the hell if I'm buying a jersey, but I wouldn't even buy a jersey. I mean, think about it. I mean, what's a jersey cost you? I mean, and whose jersey do you want? Your mean Mercedes?
I would have to just get something for the comedy. I mean, seriously. Last year, I got to say, I was pretty close to getting a freaking Lamont Wade jersey with all the walk-offs and whatnot. I mean, he was pretty freaking awesome last year.
He might be gone by August 1st. I don't want a jersey. I may go jersey on Lamont, but I'm not going jersey.
How many guys have you actually – I bet you could probably count at least 5 or more guys that have been picked up by the Giants in some transaction, and then before they're even get a locker, they're gone. They're off the 40 because someone
Aaron
else.
Altair.
I remember that name.
He's one of those guys that basically they picked him up before he ever got in that bat. Before he ever got a hit, they moved him on.
I mean, there's a bunch of them. It's like this musical chairs on the 40. Let's see who we can. You know what
it's like. Farhan's that crazed guy, that crazed nut in your fantasy league that you look at the standings like a month into the season and everybody's made 7 moves except for one guy who's made 38.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, wait a second, who's the jackass with the 38 moves? And then you're like, and then you look at his roster and it seems total shit. And he has beaten nobody. And you're like, wait a second, you made 38 moves, Bob. What are you doing? And it's like you look at it, you're like, man, he made one good move and he made all these lateral moves and all this overreaction. And every time somebody drops a ball, he's cutting them and waiver wiring them. And then you look up and you're like, man, that team sucks. Bob, you do realize that you don't get any kind of a trophy for most transactions, right? And everybody makes fun of them, and you guys get together for some beers, and you're like, yeah, remember Bob made 47 moves more than anybody else in our league and finished dead last. I mean, that's Bob is Farhan right now.
Well, I guess he does pretty good in fantasy football, but I don't know.
Says who?
I thought he'd won the Dodgers league 2 years in a row. According,
I gotta see. Show me the standings. I need to see that.
I need them.
I don't know.
Joe is probably on the special teams.
I've just these guys that I'm looking here at this is what I would do if let me pull it back up. The top
they sent
10.
down Luis Gonzalez. This is a great one from Anonymous. He said Farhan sent Luis Gonzalez down earlier this year. He was literally the best hitter the Giants had. He's playing fantasy baseball.
Yeah, because he'd rather hang on to these guys with options so he doesn't lose any of the 40, and then the team gets weaker, and then you end up finagling the 40, and you move Dubon for Papierski, and Papierski gets put on waivers, which we knew he was gonna. But now he's gone, and so you just filled a gap when you probably could have held on to Dubon and traded him.
What's the fantasy football move? The equivalent. Farhan got rid of probably Sterling Shepard, and he picked up who's that crappy receiver? He used to play for ASU, plays for the Patriots now, and he's soft.
N'Keal Harry.
N'Keal Harry.
Yeah. He added N'Keal Harry. Farhan added N'Keal Harry and dumped Sterling Shepard.
According to MLB Trade Rumors Online, the top 10 free agents listed 1 through 10. This is their rankings. Aaron Judge, Carlos Correa, Trey Turner, Xander Bogaerts, 5, Joe Musgrave, 6, Nolan Arenado. I think he has an opt-out or something. And 7, Jacob deGrom, 8, Carlos Rodon, Contreras, 9. This is all out.
Didn't want to have to do that to Danny, but Mark Graves did say, did I hear Dubon talk from Dan? So Dan has to be muted because we had, Mark Graves runs Dan, and when Dan, Eric, I don't know if you knew this, but Mark Graves runs Danny's mic. We gave him that as a team member. That's his job. And we decided that Mark Graves can mute Danny at any point. But then we also decided as an addendum that if Danny brought up Dubon's name, that he would immediately be muted. So Mark Graves in the chat said, did I hear Dubon talk from Dan? And when I saw that, I just went right to the mute and I pressed mute. So there you go. It's a rough chat, man. I'm not going to say this is the friendliest chat you've ever seen. This is kind of a cutthroat chat. I mean, now look at Danny. He's shamelessly trying to show us pictures of his dogs. Danny's not going to work. You cannot go Dubon or DeBone. By the way, Kipe was calling him DeBone for a while. That's the other thing. This never happened in the Sabian era where guys didn't know how to pronounce the guys on the team. Have you noticed that's a Farhan thing? We've had like multiple guys. Like, is it DeBone? Is it DeBon? Is it this? Is it Pablo? Is it Pablo? Is it, there's all these questions about pronunciations. You better keep your pronunciation guide near if you're gonna, be a Giants announcer. But we didn't have that problem before. Now it's like, wait a second. What's that?
Dan was rattling off. Giants will get none of them.
Yeah. Oh, Danny was full force on the free agents there, but he did mention Mauricio, and Mark Graves noticed, so now we're just waiting on Graves to free Danny up. We'll see. Otherwise, it's a 2-man chat, and Danny's got a beautiful Warrior hat on. Look at that. He's got the Giants shirt. He's got a beautiful Warrior hat, and we're just waiting in the chat for Mark Graves to free Danny. And it could come in a minute. It could come in a year. I mean, we don't know. I mean, hopefully Mark Graves didn't go on like a European vacation. Otherwise, that could be a rough, Look at Danny's the new third base coach, and he's waving him in. You're down. Slide. All right. Mark Graves, what? Where's Mark? Dan Coccimilgio. He did. Yeah, he didn't say unmute him. That's the one thing. I'm still waiting on Mark Graves on the unmute.
Come on now, Graves.
Graves don't mess.
Graves, he operates on Graves time.
Yeah, I mean, I can want Danny to be a free man. Ryan can say, you know what? I like Danny. I want him to be a free man. Oh, there we go. Here it is. 11:56. The unmute. The unmute comes from Graves, and now we welcome Dan back to the chat. Dan, how are you?
All right. I'm doing good. I looked you up, Graves.
You want to
say I know where you live here in Arizona.
Anonymous says Graves is vindictive. That's what I love. I mean, you give a man like Graves power in the chat. I mean, that's good shit. I mean, that really is.
Yeah, you didn't even post my comment. I commented in the. I had to go on the comments. I says, "Come on, Graves, get me out of purgatory." You guys
Telling you.
All right, I'm looking you up, Graves.
He says, unmute Danny. We unmuted Danny.
Okay, so he's got certain power over certain words, and I'll remember that. Okay. Mark Graves, Phoenix, Arizona. Where are you?
SecureMoney.com on the web.
Oh, do you live in Glendale, Mark? I see a Mark Graves in Glendale.
Don't become the Chicago Sun-Times with Steve Bartman and start telling people where he
publish
lives.
Him. Oh, okay. Maybe used to live. Oh, okay.
Dusty Gold. I told a story today on the show about how Will Clark picked up on my date at the Pierce Street.
Oh, I heard that.
And Dusty Gold says Larry doesn't want Will to throw as the manager since he hit up on his girlfriend. Man,
that was great.
I was hoping she would dance with him. I was picturing season tickets.
Yeah, wouldn't that? I mean, that would be just really
Graves
fired up.
Challenging Danny. I'm in Goodyear. Come get some, Danny boy.
Goodyear. Okay, I'm not too far from Goodyear off the 101. I'll be taking a right-hand turn on the 10 West, heading to Goodyear, looking for you. Hey, you over there by In-N-Out over there off of
how's the security in those over 50 those over 50 places where you got to be 50 to move there, 50 plus. How is the security?
Not too bad. I got my own security. I got Smith on one door, Weston on the other.
Oh, look at you. Dirty Danny over here.
Come on in here, guys. I'm packing. I'll be ready for you.
You feeling lucky, punk?
Go ahead. Yeah, make my day. Yeah. So, I tell you, of those 10 free agents, go
Dirty
get 2
Coccimilgio.
Go get 2 of those guys. Just go get them. I mean, you're the what? What did we figure out the market?
Graves says he's at the end of Estrella Parkway.
Okay,
things are getting personal.
Oh, okay. Estrella Parkway. Okay. Yeah, I know where that is.
He knows where it is.
Yeah, I got clients out there.
Yeah. I mean, he knows a guy who knows a guy who might knows Frankie Carbone, who knows, everybody knows somebody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got a connection.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner.
I got Pasquale.
You got Pasquale.
I was at Costco this afternoon. We don't have New York style here in Arizona.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner.
Yeah,
what do you
it must
mean?
be a California thing or something. They're not in the Arizona Costco. Dang.
Well, we're going to have to make somebody an offer they can't refuse.
Yeah. So let's go look at some of these guys that are available. Go get 2 guys of that 10. I would say you'll probably lose Rodon because they won't sign him for 4 or 5 years. But Joe Musgrave would be a nice signing. I mean, he wouldn't be.
They can't hit. I mean, they better sign some bats.
Well, yeah. How about going and getting? Let's see.
R.I.P. James Conn. By the way, did you guys see that today?
No.
Yeah, I heard about that.
What happened?
James Conn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You a Godfather fan?
Yeah,
You're probably more of an Elf fan.
I liked him in The Elf.
You did?
Yeah,
that movie was ass.
Wasn't he was the dad? He was.
It started funny, but it's a train wreck at the end.
Elf. I mean,
Elf.
Come on.
It's a cute concept. The first 45 minutes of Elf are good. The rest of it is a tire fire.
I mean, it's a kid's movie.
Yeah, I watch it with my kids. I mean, it's. I mean, it's kind of,
It sucks.
I don't know.
Elf. Come on. It is
Come
funny.
on, Dad. Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
How you doing, Dad? Dad.
Another mention, DJ Vine Venus says, Pasquale making a cameo appearance on the Larry Krueger show. Of course. We can't have a Krug show without Pasquale.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner.
Yeah, there you go.
Why not go get Xander Bogaerts? And
Danny's always shopping. Have you noticed that?
He's going to be a free agent. Go get Bogaerts and Joe Musgrave. Go sign him. Spend some money. Crawford, Bogart either plays third or Crawford, you're going to have to play a different position because you didn't hit 240 this year.
We're an hour and 24 minutes in. And now we're starting to go. Now this thing starts to unravel. This is where Danny starts asking questions about who's under contract, and I got to start shuffling for Cott's contracts. And
we got to.
What do you think? What do you think of the Twins? Do you think they would take Rodon? What do they have to offer? It's one of those things. And then I start wondering. For some reason, I start thinking to myself, where in my house is my gun, and could I get it quickly if I just wanted to end it all. I just wanted to say that's it.
I still have that ice pick in the freezer to jam into my retina.
Exactly. If I just wanted to finish myself off after Danny's 14th, trade.
It's actually getting
in the
comical though. Now it's actually getting comical. Like the other night, who was it that they had bases loaded, and I was
Sack scored 17 runs tonight. Is that true?
Yeah, but it was in Salt Lake City, so take it with a grain of salt. I mean, Ramos hit a home run. Gonzalez went 2 for 3. As I said, Diaz went 2 for 5. A couple other guys hit well.
This was just a completely random exercise I just did. I don't know why. It was pretty stupid, and that's kind of why I wasn't talking. I just went and I looked at. I needed to see some players, and then I was like, I'm going to put together what
Val, thank you.
I'm going to put together what I feel like Farhan's fantasy football team was last year, about mid-season.
That there was like a.
You have it. You can.
A Sterling Shepard.
Farhan
walks into the kitchen and says, "Honey, I added Sterling Shepard, but I got rid of Kendrick Bourne, and I'm thinking about N'Keal Harry, trading him for Jawan Jennings. What do you think?"
All right, so this is what I put together.
And you're sitting there, and we all know this guy in fantasy. We all know this guy in fantasy. I picked up Tyler Croft, but I'm thinking about cutting him and picking up Dawson Knox. Do you think I ought to do that?
Will Dissly?
I've got Will Dissly, but I'm thinking Charlie Warner. What do you guys think? It's like, what the hell?
All right, what do you think about this?
I think you ought to be kicked out of the league.
I'm saying this is about week 4 Farhan, after he probably took Saquon Barkley and he got injured, and this is about what he's rolling with. All right, I'm going with Sam Darnold, pedigree hasn't turned it around.
He was once good. Somebody once thought he was good.
And he had some rushing touchdowns. Then I had just, Miles.
Pedigree, that sounds like a horse. Pedigree, down the stretch he comes. Here comes Pedigree.
Miles Gaskin, I feel like, would definitely be on his squad. Like, just the kind of guy that does just enough, but he's clearly no one would ever really want him as their number one.
Maybe a Jamal Williams, just somebody who's so totally forgettable. But then, he was left after the draft because people just saw Jay Williams and they weren't sure who it was. And Farhan came along and picked him up.
And then I've got Melvin Gordon was his big hit this year. He bet pedigree, and he got a bunch of touchdowns. Then a wide receiver, of course, he has Ross St. Brown. There's just no way he doesn't.
Oh, that's blue chip.
That's blue chip. But yeah, that might be a little too much. Then I'm going Elijah Moore.
Yes, he sees the upside. He sees the upside potential.
And then
hurt all the time.
Speaking of upside and just tantalizing, if you could put it together, I'm thinking his tight end was Mo Alley Cox.
No, at 1:00 in the morning, he picked up Jacob Eason as a quarterback, and he dropped Baker Mayfield but picked up Jacob Eason because he saw something on Roto World at 1:15 that gave him an indication that possibly there was an injury in wherever Eason is these days.
He definitely drafted like Trey Lance or Justin Fields too, and just stashed them in the minors, never to be seen. 2017.
Right.
And then flex, I had to throw out, Sony Michel.
Yeah, he's got Sony Michel. He still believes in him. He's thinking about trading
off
him.
That ACL.
And then defense, of course, he's streaming every week. And
Absolutely. and he's thinking about picking up Darrell Henderson. I mean, it's just just this total nondescript nothing lineup. Rebel 444. He probably sees John Ross as a project.
Oh, it's so true. God, painful.
It's actually kind of funny when you start going into the fantasy part of it.
I know
that takes away from real life.
I know.
I don't have to hear Danny say, "Let's get Trout."
Hey, I'm telling you, he's going to get traded.
Danny's the guy in the fantasy.
I like the Trout. I like the Trout pickup. It's about as obvious as, it's going to be some coastal fog, but it's going to be warmer inland. Yeah, you know what? I'm seeing temperatures on the coast that are going to be very reasonable, but if you go inland, it's going to be a little warmer.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that team I just rattled off is it's co-managed by Farhan and Dan. And Dan, meanwhile, Farhan's making all these, fringe pickups, Gaskin, Melvin Gordon having a good week. And then Dan's just like, he's talking to everyone. He's in the group chat. He's hitting up people privately. Hey, you see him on Ross St. Brown, Melvin Gordon? Hey, what do you think we pack? Hey, I'll throw in Mo Alley Cox. All right. And all you have to do is give me Travis Kelce and Jonathan Taylor.
Wait a second. Farhan has just made a new move. He has added Zay Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Zay Jones is now on Farhan's fantasy team.
I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go through Farhan's 15 top transactions of no names, and I'm going to put them all in the Kentucky Derby, and I'm going to do a call. And we got Stewie on the outside, and here comes Padlo. Padlo moving up, and here comes Connor Joe. Connor Joe, he's backing up.
Connor Joe, his horse is facing the wrong way. I don't know what's happening.
Connor Joe, and here comes Papirski. Oh, Papirski trips over the rail.
Wait a second. Word just coming in. Farhan has added wide receiver KJ Osborne. KJ Osborne. And, wait a second. He's flipping him and Alexander Madison in a trade. They're going to Carolina, and this is all to bring in, wait a second. Yes, Rashard Higgins. So they've made all these moves. They're bringing in Rashard Higgins, but wait, there's more. He got Tommy Tremble as a throw-in on the trade. So,
team even.
Wait a second, and there's talk that Chuba Hubbard could be a free agent, and there's an injury in Carolina. I mean, it's Farhan's picking up Byron Pringle off the Chiefs.
For sure. And they hit 1 week, and then he decides that he's going to make him a roster staple. That's it. And yeah. Oh God.
Marquez Valdez Scantling is on Farhan's team now.
WR1.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Unbelievable. Wait a second. His quarterback's down, so he's added John Walford.
Honestly, the biggest
Ben Skoranek. It looks like Ben Skoranek and John Walford are now Farhan's fantasy sleepers.
I mean, pretty much he runs his baseball team like Kyle Shanahan runs his running back room. He's like, all right, I'm drafting this guy. Okay, nope, it's going to be undrafted A, undrafted B. We're going to get a little Jeff Wilson in there today. Oh, who do you think's going to play running back today? Oh, you know what? Actually, even though Trey Sermon got the first 2 carries, it's actually going to be Mitchell's going to be taking the load today. It's just it's
somewhat random. It's somewhat random. Wait a second. I see Taylor Heineke and Cam Sims out there. I'm thinking I may act.
Oh my God. Farhan so picked up Cam Newton last year. I had a few serviceable weeks. Oh God.
Hey, let me give you
wait a second. I just got a text. He said he just got JD McKissick. He's added JD McKissick. Yeah, I mean, it's a parade. It's a parade, and it would be funny if this wasn't actually true. But these are, at this point, it's like, wake me when you're relevant, because right now it's let's just say this. There's a lot of good people involved, but it's a sleepy endeavor, right? I mean, wouldn't you call the Giants they're a sleepy team right now?
Let me run you some numbers for the Giants, and you tell me what these guys
are. Running numbers?
I'm going to run you some numbers real quick.
Okay.
34, 32, 34, 35, 30,
Bingo.
33, 30, 35, 30, 31, 35, 31, 31, 31. That's the age of all their guys on the 26-man roster. I got more 30s on the 40, but this is, I mean, you look at the guys. I mean, that is an old freaking team. I mean,
yeah, that's the depressing part, that the arrow is not pointing up. The arrow is pointing down.
Rebuilding with a team that is the oldest in the league. I mean, how about this, guys? Let's everyone put on your most optimistic Giants cap. Let's all just carry some water for Farhan and Kapler real quick. If you were charged with like, how like the Warriors or whatever, they usually have like a thing before the season, like, oh, it's a great timeout or strength in numbers. What would be your marketing thing for the Giants? Like, hey, you don't want to set too high of expectations, but it's like, this team, if you want to come watch a slightly above average team that's going to win a little bit more than they lose, and you're going to see players make their dreams come true. You're going to get all these minor leaguers that should never have a shot in the big leagues. It's basically, it's like
what's our marketing moniker?
I don't know.
I would go with, we may be old, but we're slow.
I'll say this. Hey, Giants baseball, we'll break into your car and leave you with 2 tickets to the game tonight. You think we're bad now, check back in 2 years.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
sad. Larry, you weren't here for this part of the attendance thing, but I always took like a lot of pride in the fact that, like the Warriors, before we were good, like everyone around the league said the Warriors have the best fans. They still show up and they have so much energy. And then like, through those World Series runs, like you get guys like Bill Simmons saying like, man, I honestly am not sure like there's another atmosphere, like more electric with better energy out there than like AT&T. And it just bums me out that, even the fans that do go, like they're not making noise. It feels like everyone is just they just go.
I don't blame the fans though, man. I mean, don't blame the fans. They're just reacting to what they see on the field. I never blame the fans. I just don't, because I don't think it's like on them to be entertained. It's on the team to entertain them, right?
Hey, I mean, at least if you're gonna be this like,
as the kids would say, mid
500,
I had my 13-year-old throw. He's like, Dad, your takes are all mid. He said that to me the other day.
Huge
mid.
I'm like, hey, I mean, aren't I footing the bill for all these camps that you're going to? Aren't you going to basketball camp next week? And I try to guilt him. You could be living. I could yank your house privileges, and you could be living outside. I mean, I try to throw as many underhanded, dirty tactics at him. But when he says, Dad, your takes are mid, I mean, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts. There's Larry Krueger's torn up inside when he thinks about that that rip.
Larry, if he said that your takes suck ass, then like you maybe giggle a little and he's not super serious, because like, okay, clearly your takes don't suck ass. But when the kids come with the confident mid, you're just like,
and then what can you say other than get a freaking haircut? You know what I mean? I say that to my kids all the time. Get a freaking haircut. All right. Go to Great Clips and tell them that you don't have the notes, and that you just, did I ever tell you that one time I went to Great Clips and the lady's like, do you, I go a little shorter, a little boy's haircut. Can you just cut it a little shorter? And she looks at me and she's like, and she's like all serious, and she's getting her lips are kind of getting a little kind of angry. And she's like, do you know what was in the notes? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know what was in the notes, but last time, when he came home, it was kind of too long and we had to come back a little too soon. Could you just make it a little shorter? And she's like, what's in the notes? And she's like getting all upset. And I go, I don't know what's in the notes. All I'm thinking is just a little bit shorter than last time. And she's, do you want a 2? Do you want a 2.5? Do you want a 1, a 1.5? And she's like getting kind of angry.
She's getting seriously,
she's getting worked up. Okay. So I go, you know what? I don't know. You look like a pro. Do your best. And I walk back to the lobby, right? I look through the mirror. I felt like I'm watching Mark Hallberg, wave somebody in from third. She's got the buzzer, the buzz cut thing, and she's just arms are swinging and hair's flying, and she freaking buzz cutted my kid. Like it was like I said, what the hell's this? It was just like Officer and a Gentleman or something. I mean, what the hell? I mean, he's not joining the Marines next week. What the hell are you doing? And she's like, you said you wanted it shorter than the notes. And I'm like, what are you so freaking angry about? And I'm like, and I called her out. She said, I'm not angry. I'm like, you're sweating and you're breathing through your freaking mouth. And so I'm like, how about this? How about just give me the name of your manager? And so I called them. I go, I don't know if you're hiring people out of prison or what the hell's going on there, or why this woman who's cutting hair for kids is so freaking angry. But she hacked my kid to death, and here's the pictures to prove it. And he's like, well, oh God, she's terrible. We had to get rid of her. We're gonna have to get rid of her. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I don't want to see anybody lose their gig over it, but she sucks. Yeah. And he's like, well, I'll give you a free haircut. I go, it's like $10 or $16. I mean, that $16 ain't gonna make my kid's hair come back. I mean, luckily he's got a good looking face and he can get away with it. If you cut my hair like that, people would be crossing the street every time they saw me. They'd be out of just sheer fear. So
that's the
unbelievable.
That's a baseball equivalent.
Larry is a Karen. Thank you.
Oh, stop.
Thank you.
Larry's Karen. I love it.
Lotus 98. That ain't right. No, that ain't right.
That ain't right.
Oh,
the baseball equivalent of that would be like
that ain't right.
Fire Farhan and Gabe Kapler because of all the analytics nonsense, and instead hire Lenny Dykstra to run the whole organization. That's basically what that was.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like
Lenny Dykstra came on our show and told us that he likes to sleep with senior citizens, and then he starts talking about how their bones are brittle. And I was like, oh my God, Lenny, please just go away.
His thumbs are quite similar to theirs. So.
Oh God, he is a disaster.
All right. We're gonna do a little. I'm gonna name 25 players. Listen to these 25 players and see what they have in common.
Oh, you're gonna name 25 players
real quick. Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, Ronald Acuna.
I'm putting my head down. I'm gonna put my head down.
Wander Franco, Luis Robert of the White Sox, who we just saw, Vladimir Guerrero, Rafael Devers, Eloy Jimenez, Adley Rashman.
What about him?
Spencer Torkelson, we just saw him. Jared Kelenic.
Anonymous says they're all not Giants. That's what they have in common.
They're all under 25, these guys, and we don't have one of them. These are the best 25 players by Jim Callis. Julio Rodriguez. Have you seen that guy with the Mariners? Man, he's good.
Yeah, he's got like 17 bombs.
We went over this, if you go by wins above replacement, our top guy's Yaz, and he's one behind Connor Joe around 112.
And he's 31, and he's hitting 220 again. Is Yaz more of a is this the Yaz of what we saw last year and this year hitting in the 220s?
Yeah.
Or is
Yaz is 220 and 17 home runs. That's what he is.
That's what he's on pace for. Last year he hit 25. But he's on pace for like 17. He's got 8 this year, and he's hitting 220. Is it time to either trade Yaz or
Danny? Will you stop it? Stop! No, nobody wants these guys.
Okay, so what do you do with them? What do you
You
do
don't
with
do
them?
anything with them.
You eat your vegetables and you like it, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, they're
you
not
just
tradable.
you
This
just
is
ride
like
with this.
5 nights in a row. We're trading untradeable guys.
So will we just ride this rock? Does he have any options? Can he go into the minors? I mean, why do we? I mean, he's great out there in the outfield. He's made some tremendous plays, but he's not hitting. I mean, how do you win?
He's our best player, according to wins above replacement.
He's our best player.
Mark Graves says Trader Dan is your new nickname. You're Dan Duquette.
I don't know what you do with these guys, but why do you keep running the same guys out there that aren't producing?
Because they're untradeable.
No one else wants them, but Farhan does.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
How can I put together the best roster possible without giving up a single person in our farm system, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, these trades.
Why don't we have anybody under
other teams? Just assume this. Just remember this. Assume that every team that you're trading with is smarter than you. And then think about that before you propose one of these trades.
I mean, I'm hoping that Joey Bart makes this. Well, he's going to be over 25 pretty soon. He's 24 already. I guess our best shot is probably Luciano or Kyle Harris.
He's like 23, right?
Luciano's like 20.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
he's is he 19 or 20? Who's that, Eric?
Ramos is 22.
Gonzo Shitsock says Danny's like the guy when a girl says she doesn't like him, he keeps on making his case why she should. Hey, look, securemoney.com. Do you know what kind of portfolio I have? I mean, I'm rolling in it. I'm living in. I could turn my AC to like 65. I mean, I got that kind of cash. I'm really rolling. I'm not interested.
I'm running the AC in the room in the back that no one's even back there right now because I just because
I can.
Just because I can. That's right.
I'm
just running. I want to see what it does to my bill.
Yeah.
This new room. So yeah, as I look at the Giants prospects here, let's take a look and see how old these guys are and what their ETA is according to their own website. I don't agree with their ETA. I don't
know why I'm thinking about guns and ammunition right now, but go ahead.
Okay, Marco Luciano, his ETA is next year. I don't know. I don't see it. Harrison next year, I could see that. Matos next year, I don't see that. Yeah. Bednar,
and that's maybe. Like when you're like, okay, I'm going to map how long it's going to take to get to.
They got Patrick Bailey coming up next year. The guy's hitting $190 in single A.
Yeah,
that means he's not coming up next year.
Exactly.
Yeah,
why don't they put their ages on here, man? Anyway, I got to find these guys' ages, but I think Luciano is 19 or 20, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, he's 20. He was actually he was born September 10th, 2001.
So he's going to be 21 in September. You say 21? He was 01?
Mark Gray says, Dan, don't go to that pickup line. I've got a big portfolio.
I mean, at this point, though.
Excuse me, ma'am. Really, I'm kind of a big deal.
I mean,
do you ever drop that? My apartment in Mesa smells of rich mahogany.
Hey, wait, I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read this just for comedy's sake. I was just on Luciano's.
It's packing the Italians.
Yaz is on a heater. Well, let's talk mutual funds, ma'am.
Listen to how depressing this is. So this is a 2019 article that was on a link. It was one of the sources on his Wikipedia. Like Giants compare Luciano to 7-time All-Star. Listen to this though. At the start of the minor league season, this is 2019, Joey Bart and Elliot Ramos were all Giants fans could talk about. The future of San Francisco looked to be in San Jose with the first-round picks. Bart, a first-round pick in 2018, is considered the best catching prospect in the game with a rocket arm and huge power at the plate. Ramos, 19, has made major strides this year and is one of the fastest rising prospects in all of baseball. That's just, or then they go on to say, the brightest star might be Luciano, but still, it's just, that's so sad.
What are they hiring somebody to do their write-ups for them? Like, when you get your resume done and everything's a bunch of crap. Have you ever written your resume? And it's like, oh man, this guy sounds excellent on paper. Better get this guy. He's a top 10 prospect.
Get him in here. Get him in here.
I mean,
Gonzo says Dan's packing the Pasquale Italian sausage.
you're dang right.
Clarence Beek says, hey, Danny, it's 57 degrees here in the avenues.
57.
57, Danny. Think about that.
What take a shot at what it is right here at 12:27.
Ooh, I'm gonna
without
say
looking.
I'm not looking. I don't cheat. I don't need to cheat. I'll say
81.
No, hotter than that. It's Arizona. I would say 90 flat. What is it? 89. Look at that.
Chicken
Look at
dinner.
that.
All right, Jim.
Look at that.
It's our weather.
Now that's
Your weather?
Come on now.
Where, which one? San Francisco or the East Bay?
Oh,
Yeah, out in the East Bay. Out in the East Bay.
It's pretty warm.
71.
59.
59.
Wow.
Yeah.
It cools off. We get the Delta breezes and the
it gets cool at night
breezes.
there. Yeah, it does.
So that's what I love about the East Bay. I mean, it might be 95 here,
I
but
love the East Bay.
But
That's where I'm from.
when the sun goes down, you can open up the windows, turn on. We have a whole house fan, and you just pull that thing, and it's an attic fan. It just sucks the hot air into the attic, and then you open all the windows. Well, no, we don't open the front door, but you open all the windows. They've got screens, and now it's like trade winds. Suddenly you're in like Maui on a nice night.
Hey,
make
I
sure you open those windows, otherwise a lot of suction in there.
Well, if you don't open the windows, you blow out your pilot light.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a bitch.
Hey guys, what did Bart? I know he struck out twice, but how did he look at his 2 at bats? Because somehow I managed to miss those 2 at bats walking Ringo. He did make a great play at catcher
early on with the double play.
He got 2 ABs, unfortunately.
I think he swung and missed at called strike 3 or swung and missed on a strike 3. One of them, it just looked like he just like his old swing and miss.
Okay.
What did they say? What happened, by the way, with Alvarez? Why did he go back on the injured list?
He
hadn't
went back?
pitched yet. Yeah, they called up. They activated Littell and they put Jose Alvarez with left elbow pain on the 10-day injured list. He had been just called off the injured list and he had yet to pitch. So that's bad.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, by the way, we didn't talk about. Did you guys talk about C.J. Abrams and Jerks and Profar?
Oh, that was awful. And
Gosh. There were people critical of Dave and Kipe. My goodness, I mean, what?
What are they going to do there?
They have to fill. Okay, so Phil. Yes, it looked somewhat serious, and I don't know what the heck the Padres were doing, trying to let the guy walk off the field 2 or 3 times. It's like, what are we looking? I felt like we were watching medical malpractice being carried out in front of our eyes. Eventually, they had him carted off, but Abrams' knee hit Profar's head on a collision in the top of the 5th inning on a Tommy LaStella pop fly that went into shallow left center field. Profar attempted to walk off twice and then had to be carted off, and it looked very serious. They took Profar after the game to he went to UC San Diego for further evaluation.
Oh, man, I hope he's okay, because I had that happen to me in a softball game. I was playing left center, and the right center. Or no, I was playing. That was when you had 4 outfielders. Yeah,
this was earlier today.
This was in my 20s. But man, I'm calling the ball. I got it. I'm on a dead run, and I call it, and this guy comes and just clobbers me. His shoulder went right into my head. I hung on to the ball, of course, but
that's what you are. You're a gamer.
But I didn't know where I was. I wanted to go back out into the next inning. And, it was just a bunch of guys, they saw that I was like, I didn't know where the heck I was going. But I had that concussion. It lasted me about 3 months. The symptoms, like Mac Williamson, kind of one of those post-concussion things, those are awful. Profar looked like he was sick to his stomach, I'm sure.
I mean, granted, I was walking in and out of the room, but I didn't hear anything from Dwayne or from Dave that would make me say that they were not taking it seriously. They're telling stories about other situations with Eckersley and that kind of thing. They're laughing about little anecdotes. They weren't laughing about the condition of Profar. And there were people that went on Twitter and started taking them to task, including some Bay Area columnists.
Really?
So I didn't get that. I don't know. Maybe I didn't see the, to me, they didn't sound like they were making light of it at all.
Wow.
Kyle McKiernan says, my wife's a nurse practitioner and was pissed that they allowed Profar to walk off even once. Yeah, they allowed him to try to walk off, I think, 2 or 3 times.
I mean, the head's tricky. I mean, he had the worst. Those are always the worst concussions where, he got hit in the head. That's one thing by the knee, but then it was like the ricochet back of the head. Those are the ones that are always the worst. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's out for 4 months.
Oh,
all right.
I mean, those kind of things can really mess you up for a long time. Mac Williamson, when he had his, he never really was recovered.
I mean, not that he was a tremendous player before that, but
right.
that didn't help. That's for sure. Let's play. Let's throw our sponsors right here. We'll be back with some final thoughts on the Krueger Show. Larry Krueger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, make sure you use telmetrics.co, Telmetrix.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the Krueger. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coccimilgio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist. And you can contact him today at securemoney.com or at his number 925-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to Dan Coccimilgio and all the people at Secure Money for being proud sponsors of the Krueger Show. And thanks to Tony Cassera and the good people at Cassera's Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krueger Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krueger Show t-shirt, the Krueger Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Cassera and get yourself a Krueger Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com, often imitated, never equaled. And they are a proud sponsor of the Krueger Show. Thanks to them as well.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like a church without God. You know, how can you go to church if you don't believe in God? You know, and along with the sausage also became the discussions. That was discussion night. You know, it wasn't a typical family that you sit there and you're quiet, you know, and you don't talk with a mouthful. Oh no, man. Italians talk when they're eating. Italians even talk when they're sleeping. And definitely we talk with our hands. So if we can't express it through our mouth, through our lips, we express it with our hands. So, and that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, you know, that life is good.
All right, welcome back to the Krueger Show. Larry Krueger, Ryan Smith, Dan Coccimilgio finishing up on a Thursday night. All right, couple thoughts. One, I'm back tomorrow at 9 a.m. on 95.7 The Game with Mark Willard, so tune in tomorrow at 95.7 The Game or on the Odyssey app. So we'll be doing that tomorrow between 9 and noon. We'll also be back tomorrow night talking more baseball. Giants and Padres game 2 from Petco will be there in the post game tomorrow night, breaking it all down.
I'll be there.
Monday is the NFL Alumni Golf Tournament, the 38th annual Charity Golf Classic at TPC Stonebrae Country Club. And I'll be working, filling in on Monday on 95.7 The Game in the morning. So unfortunately, I will not be there, but I believe you two gentlemen are planning on being there. Ricky Waters is going to be honored. You know, it's going to be a really interesting thing. A lot of NFL players are going to be there. We have our own table on the first tee that we're going to be sharing with Caceres. Tony Cacera, talked to him today. He said, "Tell Dan, tell Ryan, if they want, they can pick up shirts here. He's going to have merchandise out there. He's going to have our banner, a banner for their store, a banner for our show, and he's going to be right there at the first tee." And he said, "Hey, if you guys want to come out and interview the different guys as they come up on the first tee, that would be cool as well." So, all up to you guys, of course. And but yeah, we'll be covering that NFL Alumni Northern California 38th annual Charity Golf Classic. It's not open to the public, but it'll be Monday at TPC Stonebrae Country Club. And Ricky Waters is the man of the year, former Niner and Eagle running back and a terrific guy. So hopefully you guys can do an interview with Ricky, and would love to see that. And Ricky's down to do that. So very cool stuff.
Yeah. I think that's going to be pretty funny. I mean, we're going to have to film some videos. I think me and Danny, I think there could be some magic there in person.
And not only that, you know, I think if you guys want to play, you can play. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Guy tees off. I'll be like, "There's
a
monster drive! Oh, whoa! Yeah, he really got a hold of that one."
There will be a reception. There will be cocktails. There will be food and drink. So drink up, and it's gonna be a good time. Maybe I'll come out after the show and see if I can meet you guys out on the course. That'd be nice.
Who's that guy was in my every time I was in my backswing, he was just trying to talk trout with me.
Exactly.
Hey.
Who was that financial planner guy who kept talking about Mike Trout? I just felt like that guy had he made a wager with me that Mike Trout would be traded within a year. Wow. Okay, final thought of the night. By the way, Mark Graves says, "Pick me up a shirt, Dan." Look at that. Mark Graves is owning you right now in every way imaginable. He's muting you. He's unmuting you. He's telling you to pick him up gear. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I'll have an apple for you, Mark.
Look at you. Like apples. Look at Danny. He's just become a full-on in-show snackathon. All right, final thoughts of the night before we call it quits. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and that means 5 hours from now I'll be getting up. What
my final
jumped
thoughts?
Out at you? Yeah, final thoughts.
I got a couple of tweets.
No trades.
Couple of tweets.
On to Summer League for me. I'm excited to see the first Summer League game with all the dubs.
Oh, the Warriors I'm looking forward to a couple of weeks is camp, right? 2 weeks or 3? 3 weeks.
Also
3 weeks, 19 days till training camp.
How about Kenneth Lofton just putting Chet Holmgren in the freaking basket?
Oh man, did you see that? Oh my goodness.
Chet Holmgren looked pretty good playing D, blocking shots, huh?
He was
what,
great in the first game, and then Kenny Lofton Jr. just kind of. I mean, the guy's freaking like 300 pounds. It was just hilarious. He kind of took his.
Clarence Beak says R.I.P. Santino. Is he talking about
Corleone?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's right. He's talking about Khan.
Yeah. Okay.
James Khan.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier. Yeah, I'm.
Do we get an update, by the way, on Carlos Santana? Because he had passed out. I thought that maybe he was making a reference to Carlos Santana, but Carlos Santana.
Oh, doing very well after.
He's doing well. Good.
Okay, good. Hey, I'm kind of interested to see it's July 7th. Jimmy should be throwing any day now, right? Any reports on Jimmy G throwing? Because they said the first week of July, he should, late June or the first week of July, he would be expected to throw. I want to hear some reports, because if he starts able to throw the ball and have some zip and teams can see that, maybe we get a hearing from the NFL. We get some kind of ruling on Deshaun Watson. I think if he gets suspended for a year, I see Cleveland trading for.
It's like 95% if that happens.
There's only two teams. I looked this up today. There's only 2 teams as of last week that had the kind of cap room where they could take on Jimmy G's contract without renegotiating. Those teams are Carolina and now Cleveland. So with Carolina's addition to Baker Mayfield, they're no longer on that list. So the only team in the NFL that could trade for Jimmy Garoppolo right now and take on his full contract is the Cleveland Browns. Yep. So I think it's interesting. They have Jacoby Brissett, and they have they got another quarterback there as well. But I mean, Josh Dobbs. No, but they're not. They're a roster that's ready to win right now.
I predicted this a month ago.
Quarterback and they have a lot of cap room. I think it's a lock that Jimmy goes there. It's just a matter of what's the return going to be.
Yeah, I called it a month ago before, and I'm sticking with it. Oh yeah, you look at back up. I said that that Jimmy would end up in Cleveland. I even tweeted it about a month ago. I'll pull it up, but
no, I remember.
I had to mute him anytime you're touting your picks and your. I had it all the way.
We're gonna have to do.
Danny's like that guy at Aqueduct. He's like, hey, I had the winner in the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. Hey, who do you like to win this 9th? I don't know. I have no idea. But I had the winner in the 6th and the 7th and the 8th. And by the way, I hit the daily double. And you're sitting there going, shut the hell up. Just shut the hell up.
The pandering.
The mic is the host is unmuted in your mic.
Okay.
All right, here's a couple of closing thoughts.
You're interrupting tweets. Ryan. He was talking.
I didn't hear. Okay, go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about Ryan. He's got a visor. You're just like you see your hat and his visor, and you think, well, hey, I'm kind of
thinking that baby blue might. What color hair is your girlfriend?
Gruden has a visor. I don't show him respect. I won't show you respect.
What color is your girlfriend's hair? Is she blonde or brunette?
That's inappropriate.
She's like me, like a little bit above.
I mean, that's just not right to ask him that question about his girlfriend. That's just not.
I'm offended. I was telling him before because I'm wearing the UCSB hat, and I was like, a couple months ago, I was like, I don't have any like.
It's a hat. I thought it was a visor.
It did look a little visory, but I was like, I don't really have any like UCSB hats or anything like that, and I'm alumni. I mean, maybe it's because I don't really care about their sports, but
gaucho, right? What's a gaucho again?
It's like a
horse.
No, it's like a marauding kind of old Western person. Like it's going to get changed probably within 10 years.
Okay.
I mean, they used to throw tortillas on the soccer field, so that doesn't.
Well, that's not good. That's not good.
But yeah, I was like, oh, you know what? I want to find something kind of cool. And then I was like, oh, that one looks kind of sweet. Like it looks kind of gray. And then it came, and it was just like, it's just kind of light blue. And I kind of feel like this is more maybe for my girlfriend. But I did put it on tonight.
It's a good looking lid. It's a good looking lid.
Like the USC, the logo there. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Cool script.
You know, I would say for the game tonight. I mean, what can you say? I mean, the Giants had 2 hits in 10 innings. 2 hits for the night.
Hey,
They don't hit, and it's just that's not the only problem, but that's one of the primary problems.
Jeez.
So.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult. We didn't get to the Trey Lance story, but that whole story about Trey Lance and his arm fatigue. I just think that Trey Lance is a guy that I think people who put out videos online are keenly aware at this point that if you put one out on Trey Lance, it's going to get lots of traction and there's going to be a lot of hits and it's going to produce some revenue. So for that reason and that reason alone, I think there's just this constant drumbeat of, Trey Lance this and Trey Lance that. And it's one thing if you're giving your opinion. It's another thing if you're giving your inside sources tell you. I don't believe any of that stuff today that I heard about his arm fatigue or any of that. I just think this kid, we'll find out. We'll find out. But to me, I think he's going to be an outstanding young quarterback. It's funny. Colin Cowherd talking, specifics with Mike Silver about Trey Lance and his throwing and how he needs days off. I just went to rookie minicamp. Didn't see them there. I just went to the veteran minicamp. Didn't see them there. So kind of wondering if they're not watching the guy, then where's this report coming from? And if it was like a last year report, why is it coming out now? Other than you just tried to pile up some hits.
Speaking of the 49ers, have you seen their roster? They ranked them like 18th, some ESPN.
Yeah, CBS at 19th. Yeah,
I mean,
crazy.
what the heck is that? They were like,
it's wrong.
a couple of plays away from the Super Bowl last year. They've got Trent Williams got a 99 on the Madden game, first offensive lineman ever. They've got stars at almost every position.
Yeah, the only way that would make sense is like if they explain their methodology as like weighting the quarterback position as like 60% of the roster or something.
Do we have Monster Slam
time? Let me give you a couple quick final thoughts real quick. I'm going to read 2 tweets. These are kind of funny ones. Can't remember a Giants team that is this bad at fundamentals, which is weird considering they have around 25 coaches or whatever it is. And here's a controversial tweet maybe. Listen to this one. This tweet says, I took a screenshot of it. I got to pull it back up. Maybe we'll try a bunt sometime. Who do you think tweeted that?
Will Clark.
Jaylene Crawford, Brandon's wife, an hour ago. Isn't that weird?
Because you know what? That's another thing we said is that
Crawford
had that hit was pretty phenomenal. Like that Crawford, he's been struggling, and
maybe we'll try a bunt sometime.
Oh Jesus!
I may have to retweet.
Jaylene Crawford. Do we sense some crumbling of the
losing the room?
Yeah, man, I tell you, I'm kind of like they needed a bunt there in the top of the 10th. Wins is obviously overmatched by Krismat. You knew it going up to the plate. Try and get him over. That's your best shot at scoring a run. Because, so I'm kind of at this point where watching them, it's like not as hurtful the last couple games that they've lost because it's kind of like whatever. They're so boring. You don't even get a chance to get into the game. I mean, tonight I got fired up when Crawford got that hit, and I was like, yeah. Oh, here's another interesting thing. A tweet that Alex Pavlik put out. Austin Slater is 36 for 39 in stolen bases for his career.
I saw that. That's amazing.
I think it's time to put him in there every day. And it can't hurt, right?
He's been thrown out 3 times.
But also, he couldn't even make it to third on that deep
fly to left.
So
he did end up scoring though.
Little monster slam.
Here we
Let's
go.
do it.
He's going to drive to the hoop again. He kicks it out to Wiggins. Wiggins drives, goes in for a monster slam!
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Careful, whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah, we ain't never fall back.